Your Excellency, the President of the Pan-African Parliament, Hon Chief Fortune Charumbira, the Vice Presidents, fellow honorable members, comrades, and friends. I stand before you, comrades, grateful for the opportunity that the President has accorded the Malawi delegation. God knows I would have wished to stand before you in a better circumstances. But I do so sadly at a time my country, Malawi, has been ravaged by the longest lasting tropical storm in history, Cyclone Freddy, which has wreaked havoc in Madagascar, Malawi, and Mozambique. The level of destruction, the loss of life, property, and the decimation of the entire fabric of established communities has been unprecedented. All this, Mr. President, is coming at a time when Malawi was starting to show signs of recovery from the deadly COVID-19 pandemic that also came hard on the heels of Cyclone Anna, Cyclone Gombe, that left similar trail of devastation and destruction in Malawi and neighboring countries. As of Sunday this week, from the 12th of March, Malawi and Mozambique have been facing the devastating effects of Cyclone Freddy that made a landfall over Mozambique on Saturday the 11th and reached Malawi on Sunday the 12th of March. As of yesterday evening, Mr. President, colleagues, the death toll from the cyclone had risen from the initial reported 190 to 225 in a short period of time. Over 20,000 people have been displaced, and the worst of our fears are yet to come as the fatalities continue to amount. The cyclone has wreaked the most havoc in our country, especially the southern region, which has been hardest hit with widespread heavy rains, strong winds. This caused the rapid rise in water levels and subsequent flooding. Meanwhile, Mr. President, in Malawi, the southern part, we have no power, and we have no running water, and the roads are impassable. Yes, misfortunes has knocked on our door and left in its wake a trail of death and destruction that may take years to fully recover from. However, amidst these difficulties, I have every reason to believe that sometimes when you are in dark place and think you have been buried, you have actually been planted. My belief, Mr. President and colleagues, arises out of my faith in this gathering and out of the conviction that it is not coincidental that Cyclone Freddy hit Malawi and Mozambique while the delegations of these countries are here. I have absolute faith in the Pan-African Parliament, a league of nations brought together by shared ancestral history, identity, as well as our beloved continent which we inhabit. I make a special appeal to this gathering. Where I come from, Mr. President, there's a parable which I would like to share with you, colleagues, in my language. Nzako weniweni umamudziwa panthawi ya mavuto. Nzako weniweni umamudziwa panthawi ya mavuto. Simply put, a friend in need is a friend indeed. Or put loosely, a person who helps at difficult time is a friend you can rely on. On our part, His Excellency the State President, Dr. Lazarus McCarthy Chakwera, has declared a state of disaster in the affected areas, effectively appealing for local and international support for the affected families. This is the appeal that I humbly extend to you, our cousins in this Pan-African Parliament. Let us be inspired by the positive example of Europe, which rallied around Turkey after the destructive earthquakes to bring the much-needed relief and humanitarian aid to the people of Turkey. Let us demonstrate to the world that the African Union and its organs are not mere talk shows, but effective institutions which stand up when it matters the most. Malawi needs you all. Mozambique needs you all. Alone, it might take us a lifetime to fully recover, but together, in the Pan-African spirit of Ubuntu, our livelihoods will return to a semblance of normality in record time. Malawi is mourning. The dark cloud has befallen our country. This is the time to live by operatives mantra. One Africa, one voice. I submit. Thank you, Your Excellency. Thank you.
Thank you very much. I will compliment that message. The Bureau, our honorable members, still on Malawi, I wish, as President of the Pan-African Parliament, to express my heartfelt condolences to the people of Malawi, Mozambique, and Madagascar, and particularly the families who lost their loved ones following the devastations from the deadly Cyclone Freddy. Tropical Cyclone Freddy has become the longest-lived tropical cyclone on record, surpassing Hurricane John's 31 days in 1994. This devastating trail of destruction, with the death toll on surpassing 200, truly underscores the imperative of climate change adaptation and the agency of establishing effective continental mitigation measures for climate change. We call on the African Union to vigorously pursue the enforcement of climate justice and ensure the full representation, inclusion, and protection of the rights of Africans who are the most vulnerable to the effects of climate change. Undeniably, climate change has made cyclones more intense, with significant damages to ecosystems and infrastructure. This has demonstrated to create a collateral exacerbation of the outbreak of cholera in Malawi, arising from the extensive infrastructure damage and disruption of water and sanitation systems. We pledge our solidarity and support as Pan-African Parliament to President, His Excellency Lazarus Chakwera of Malawi in declaring a state of disaster in the southern region of the country, and I hope this will unleash a wave of international and continental recovery mechanisms for the region. May God continue to sustain and protect our continent, and may He give the people of Malawi, Mozambique, and Madagascar the resources and strength to rebuild and recover from these devastations. In honor of our brothers and sisters in the pathway of Cyclone Freddy, and for the memory of those who lost their lives in this disaster, may we all rise for a moment of silence. I thank you.